If you thought you'd seen it all in women's basketball, think again. Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie. She's rewriting the rules of the game, and the NBA's elite are noticing. Imagine Nikola Jokic, the quiet MVP, someone who rarely speaks, who doesn't hand out compliments like candy, taking a moment to single out a WNBA rookie. He didn't gush, he didn't exaggerate, and he didn't need to. He simply recognized greatness. He called her resilient. He called her precise. And then he said 4 words that shook the basketball world. All she does is play basketball. No drama, no distractions, pure, unfiltered skill. But that's just the beginning. Caitlin isn't just impressing Jokic. LeBron James himself, a man who has lived under the harshest scrutiny imaginable, handed her the ultimate blueprint for handling pressure. Put your blinders on. Go to work. Stay humble. That wasn't casual advice. That was a seal of approval from someone who's seen it all, someone who knows what it takes to thrive when every eye is on you. And the silence from Clark? Deafening. No social media rants, no emotional outbursts, just dominance. The NBA veterans are watching, taking notes, and giving respect where it's due. Shaquille O'Neal, Patrick Beverley, even Trae Young, each one acknowledging that what Clark is doing isn't typical. It's not just scoring. It's control. It's precision. It's the way she reads defenses, manipulates spacing, and executes plays like a seasoned pro. She isn't here to participate. She's here to command attention, to shift the narrative, and to force both leagues to reckon with her talent. And here's the twist. While Nike hesitated with the NBA's overlooked stars, they couldn't ignore Clark. She signed an 8-figure deal, a statement in itself, signaling that even the brands that once doubted her now have to catch up. She's transcending the WNBA, earning the respect of NBA legends, and setting the stage for a revolution in women's basketball. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing, she's changing the game. The question isn't whether she can shoot, pass, or score. It's whether the world is ready for her. And trust us, every legend she impresses, every veteran she silences, only proves that this isn't hype. It's history in the making. Caitlin Clark didn't just arrive in the WNBA, she stormed in. From the moment she stepped on the court, cameras zoomed in, analysts whispered, and skeptics braced themselves for another flash-in-the-pan rookie. But Caitlin wasn't there to be a footnote. Every dribble, every step-back 3, every calculated pass screamed precision, confidence, and intelligence. She wasn't just playing basketball, she was rewriting the blueprint for what it means to dominate a game from tip-off to buzzer. Think about the context. Women's basketball has always had its stars, its legends, but rarely has a rookie forced the NBA's elite to pause and take notes. Nikola Jokic, a man who's built a career on silence, patience, and deadly accuracy, did just that. Observers were left stunned. Jokic doesn't hand out compliments lightly. The man who dismantles defenses with minimal fuss, who rarely allows emotion to touch his game, suddenly found himself spotlighting Clark. And when he said, "All she does is play basketball," it wasn't flattery. It was reverence. That line, brief yet monumental, captures the essence of what Caitlin is achieving. No theatrics, no distractions, just mastery. But the respect didn't stop there. LeBron James, who's lived under more scrutiny than any athlete in modern history, saw something in Caitlin that reminded him of his own journey. When he told her to put your blinders on, go to work, stay humble, it wasn't mentorship for show. It was recognition of talent, poise, and maturity beyond her years. The kind of maturity that allows a rookie to endure ridicule, social media slander, and Olympic snubs without letting it derail her mission. And Caitlin? She absorbed it. She internalized it. She let her performance speak, and oh, did it roar. Meanwhile, the skeptics tried to catch her slipping. Every elbow, every tough defense, every challenge from veteran WNBA players was met with silent precision. No tweets, no interviews, no emotional outbursts. just relentless execution. Patrick Beverley, a player notorious for exposing weaknesses and pushing opponents to the edge, admitted that the way Clark handles pressure and physicality is borderline untouchable. Shaquille O'Neal, never one to hand out unearned praise, acknowledged that Clark's performance defied expectations and demanded respect on enemy court. Every NBA legend witnessing her rise saw the same truth. Caitlin Clark isn't just talented. She's untouchable in her approach, fearless in her execution, and revolutionary in her presence. And while the world watched, Nike scrambled. They had overlooked Jokic, dismissed potential icons, and now found themselves reacting to Clark's meteoric rise. Her 8-figure contract wasn't just about money. It was a public acknowledgement that she's a force to be reckoned with, a brand they could no longer ignore. Clark had become a symbol, raw talent meeting relentless discipline, breaking down walls that had once seemed insurmountable. Yet, amid all the praise and accolades, what's most striking is her composure. In a league where drama often overshadows skill, Clark's silence is deafening. Legends speak, she performs. Criticism arises, she executes. Every veteran, every analyst, every skeptic is forced to confront the undeniable truth. Caitlin Clark isn't following a path. She's paving a highway for women's basketball, and the WNBA will never be the same. This is the era of Caitlin Clark, a rookie whose game is measured in precision, whose presence commands attention, and whose journey has already begun reshaping the narrative of women's professional basketball. And make no mistake, those watching from the sidelines, the NBA's top names, the media, the critics, are witnessing history. Caitlin isn't just playing the game, she's changing its rules. She's creating a legacy before she even hangs up her sneakers. And if you think the WNBA is ready for this level of dominance, think again. Because Caitlin Clark isn't here to fit in. She's here to redefine what it means to lead, excel, and command respect on every court she touches. The tension started quietly, almost imperceptibly, but it was there from the very first game. Caitlin Clark wasn't just another rookie. She was a prodigy entering a league steeped in tradition, filled with veterans who had earned their place through blood, sweat, out in social media wars. And while the WNBA had stars of its own, no one had seen anything like Clark, an athlete whose poise and precision made every defender look like an amateur in comparison. The first spark came when Caitlin dropped 40 points with 12 assists in a single game, executing plays that resembled NBA veterans' tape study more than a rookie's instinct. Observers were scrambling. How was someone so young orchestrating offense like a seasoned general? The media went wild, calling it a miracle performance, but the true drama unfolded off the scoreboard. Veteran players, whose pride had been cultivated over years of domination, were unsettled. They weren't just facing skill, they were facing audacity. And audacity, as they quickly realized, doesn't bow to hierarchy. Then came the first twist. Nikola Jokic, a man who rarely speaks, I praised her publicly. Jokic, the silent assassin of the NBA, a 2-time MVP, a man whose words carry weight because they're so scarce, took a moment to spotlight Clark. "All she does is play basketball," he said, and the shockwaves spread. Veterans who had dismissed her as hype were left speechless. Critics who had mocked her Olympic snub or questioned her resilience were forced to reconsider. And the WNBA? It was forced into a dilemma. How do you manage a phenomenon that refuses to fit into your expectations? The silence of Clark in response to this chaos only fueled the drama. Where others might have tweeted, posted, or gone on interviews to defend themselves, Clark remained an enigma. She let her game speak louder than any rant. Every defense thrown at her, every physical challenge, every attempt to intimidate, she absorbed and countered with grace and precision. The league started to buzz. This was not just talent. This was strategy, psychology, and control. The rookie who should have been intimidated was intimidating the league instead. And then the social media explosion hit. Clips of Clark dissecting defenses, executing stepbacks, hang dribbles, and alley-oops went viral. Analysts compared her floor IQ to the likes of Luka Doncic and Jokic, suggesting she could dominate beyond the WNBA. Veterans watched in disbelief as the praise from NBA legends kept rolling in. LeBron James's advice, Shaquille O'Neal's acknowledgement, Patrick Beverley's respect, it all painted a picture of a player who had transcended the rookie label overnight. But here's where the real conflict emerged. Not everyone was ready to accept it. A few veterans felt threatened, as the whispers began, "She's taking our spotlight. The league isn't ready for her." Even some media outlets suggested that she was overhyped, that perhaps she was skilled but not durable. These comments, while minor in isolation, became the spark for a growing storm. Clark's composure was being tested, not by her own limitations, but by those who felt her light outshone theirs. Then came the shocking reveal. During a mid-season game, one of the WNBA's top veterans, whose identity would make headlines for months, intentionally elbowed Clark during a drive. The league erupted. Commentators debated intent, fans flooded social media, and highlight reels replayed the moment endlessly. But Clark? She didn't react emotionally. She scored on the next possession, calmly orchestrated her team's offense, and then executed a three-pointer that seemed to mock the aggression aimed at her. It was a message louder than any statement. "You can challenge me physically, verbally, or socially, but I control the game, and you cannot stop me." What happened next sent shockwaves even further. Nike, which had initially overlooked Clark, suddenly realized the magnitude of her influence. Her 8-figure contract wasn't just a paycheck, it was a declaration. Brands that ignored her now scrambled to associate themselves with her meteoric rise. Meanwhile, her presence forced the WNBA to confront its own narrative. Here was a rookie, taking attention, respect, and legitimacy, challenging the status quo. The league's history of subtle misogyny, media oversight, and underpromotion was being exposed. Caitlin Clark wasn't just playing basketball, she was holding up a mirror. The first twist had fully landed. The rookie was no longer rookie. She was a disruptor. Legends were acknowledging her. Veterans were recalibrating. The media was spinning. And the WNBA itself was on the precipice of a narrative shift it hadn't anticipated. Caitlin Clark had arrived as a player, but she was becoming something much bigger. A symbol of what relentless skill, quiet composure, and unshakable confidence can achieve in a league that underestimated her. By the end of the season's first half, the tension between the old guard and the new phenomenon had reached a boiling point. Analysts debated endlessly. Is Clark the greatest rookie ever, or is the league creating drama around her rise? But anyone watching closely knew the truth. Caitlin Clark had forced respect from those who never handed out, challenged the norms of a league that thought it controlled the narrative, and was rewriting the rules of dominance both on and off the court. The stage was now set for the next level: escalation. And that's when the WNBA, the media, and even the NBA would witness something entirely unexpected. A series of revelations that would make fans question everything they thought they knew about talent, loyalty, and influence in professional basketball. Caitlin Clark's story wasn't just about points or assists anymore. It was about legacy, power, and the audacity to disrupt an entire league. The murmurs in locker rooms turned into full-blown conversations. Whispers became debates. And by the time the next game rolled around, the tension wasn't just on the court, it was in the minds of everyone involved. Caitlin Clark had become a lightning rod for attention, a focal point where respect, envy, and disbelief collided. The escalation was unstoppable. It started subtly. Veterans who had once dismissed her now began scrutinizing every move she made. Every step-back three, every pass-dissected defenses, every feint or trap she set. They watched as if it were a chess master moving pieces on a board only she could see. But Clark remained unshaken. She didn't talk trash, she didn't complain. She just played, and she played flawlessly. It was infuriatingly effective. The league had a rising star it could not contain, and it showed in the eyes of those who were supposed to mentor her. And then came the shocking reveal. During a nationally televised game, Nikola Clark executed a play that stunned the basketball world. A double screen, a perfectly timed pass, and a no-look shot that hit nothing but net. Analysts went wild. Social media exploded. NBA legends, who had been quietly observing, openly commented. Shaquille O'Neal called it masterclass. Patrick Beverley called it surgical. And LeBron James, in a live interview, said, "She moves like she's been doing this for decades." But the real twist wasn't the highlight itself. It was what happened immediately afterward. The veteran who had elbowed her months prior approached her during a timeout. The entire arena froze. Fans held their breath. Cameras zoomed in. And then, in front of the world, he shook her hand. Respect, not rivalry, radiated from that gesture. A veteran who once challenged her physically had no choice but to acknowledge what everyone else had already seen. Caitlin Clark was untouchable. The drama intensified when social media influencers and sports analysts began to draw comparisons between Clark and NBA greats. Clips comparing her vision on the court to Nikola Jokic's, her poise to LeBron James's, her shot precision to Steph Curry's, all went viral within minutes. The narrative wasn't just about a rookie dominating the WNBA. It was about a player transcending leagues, demanding respect from men who had dominated the sport for years. Then came the internal league shockwave. Coaches, once hesitant to rely on her full potential, now had to adjust strategies around her. Teams that underestimated her found themselves scrambling, unable to contain her skill set. And with each game, the tension escalated. Not because she faltered, but because the league had no blueprint for handling someone of her caliber. She wasn't just a competitor. She was a disruptor of every expectation. The turning point arrived off the court. LeBron James's public praise, Shaquille O'Neal's acknowledgement, and Nikola Jokic's rare commentary weren't just compliments. They were a challenge to the WNBA itself. Could the league continue to underplay her brilliance while the world outside recognized it? Sponsors, brands, and even international audiences were tuning in, and the pressure mounted. Nike, which had initially overlooked her, scrambled to align themselves with Clark's meteoric rise. The company had missed one opportunity before, but now they couldn't ignore the phenomenon that the NBA had already embraced. And then came the scandalous twist no one expected. Whispers emerged that some league veterans had been trying to subtly undermine her. Rumors of intentional fouls, miscommunications during plays, and attempts to isolate her from her teammates began circulating. Social media blew up, fans demanded accountability, and the league was forced to investigate. But Clark? She didn't respond publicly. She let her game, and only her game, settle the score. In the midst of this chaos, Clark's silent dominance became her weapon. Every point scored, every assist, every defensive stop was a statement. She didn't need to fight fire with fire. She just outplayed it. And the response from NBA stars only amplified the drama. Nikola Jokic publicly dissected her gameplay, calling it one of the most impressive I've ever witnessed. While LeBron's mentorship advice, "Put your blinders on, go to work, stay humble," was interpreted as a subtle public endorsement. The world was watching, and the WNBA's internal dynamics were about to be exposed like never before. By mid-season, the escalation reached its peak. Clark had not only survived the scrutiny, but had turned every attempt to challenge her into proof of her dominance. The veteran players, the coaches, the media, and even casual fans were forced to confront an undeniable reality. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a rookie with potential. She was a force rewriting the rules of engagement in women's basketball. And then the ultimate shocking reveal came. During a post-game press conference, Clark revealed, almost casually, that she had been handling not only the on-court challenges, but also off-court distractions, media smears, and strategic isolation attempts with the same calm precision she displayed in the game. The revelation was staggering. Fans, analysts, and legends alike were forced to acknowledge her mental fortitude, her maturity, and her capacity to dominate under every conceivable form of pressure. This escalation didn't just shake the WNBA, it sent tremors through the entire basketball world. NBA veterans who had once dismissed the WNBA as a minor league now spoke openly about Clark's brilliance. Analysts, previously skeptical, were drafting lists comparing her impact to male superstars. And brands that had once overlooked the WNBA now recognized that this rookie was the future, not just of the league, but of basketball itself. And the shocking reveal was clear. Caitlin Clark had become more than a player. She was a symbol of resilience, skill, and dominance, forcing respect from legends, challenging veterans, and reshaping the narrative of an entire sport. And the real question remained: could anyone, in the face of such precision and quiet power, ever truly stop her? As soon as the highlight reels hit social media, pandemonium erupted. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every platform became a frenzy of clips, reactions, and debates. Fans were in disbelief. "She moves like Jokic, shoots like Curry, and controls the floor like LeBron," one viral post declared. Another simply said, "Clark is rewriting basketball history in real time." The hashtags #Caitlin Clark, #WNBAGOAT, and #NextLevel began trending globally, drawing attention far beyond traditional basketball audiences. But it wasn't just fans. Analysts and sports journalists scrambled to recalibrate their narratives. Cable news panels dissected her every play, comparing tape frame by frame with male NBA legends. Pundits who had initially dismissed the WNBA were forced to admit the obvious. Clark wasn't just exceptional, she was unprecedented. "This isn't hype," one analyst admitted on live TV. "She's a blueprint for basketball intelligence, skill, and dominance at every level." Even former and current NBA stars couldn't resist weighing in. Shaquille O'Neal posted a clip on his personal Instagram saying, "I didn't believe the hype at first. Then I saw it live. Caitlin Clark doesn't just play basketball, she commands it." Nikola Jokic, whose approval had already added credibility, went a step further in a press interview. "Watching her is like watching a masterclass. She forces you to rethink the game, and she's only getting started." LeBron James, always careful with public statements, praised her composure under pressure and even offered mentorship in subtle but unmistakable terms. The industry also reacted. Sponsors, brands, and sports apparel companies took notice immediately. Nike, which had missed opportunities before, jumped on board, offering Clark a groundbreaking multi-million-dollar deal, not only acknowledging her talent but signaling her as a face of the next generation of athletes. Foot Locker, Adidas, and other international brands followed, each trying to secure their stake in what was now being called the Caitlin Clark era. Sports media outlets began featuring her on covers. Yet documentaries were pitched, and podcasts dedicated entire episodes to analyzing her skills. Fans, however, were the most intense. Memes flooded timelines comparing her to every great the NBA had ever seen, creating viral battles between Clark enthusiasts and skeptics. Live watch parties erupted across cities, with fans tracking her every move in real time. One particularly explosive TikTok showed a side-by-side comparison of Clark and Jokic, highlighting the eerily similar ways they manipulate defenses. It went viral, garnering millions of views within hours, and cemented her reputation as a generational talent. Yet the frenzy wasn't entirely celebratory. Some veteran WNBA players and insiders grumbled privately, citing how Clark's meteoric rise was reshaping locker room dynamics. Rumors of jealousy, subtle tension, and challenges in team hierarchies circulated, though none of it touched Clark herself. She remained unflappable, her silence in the face of chatter only amplifying her mystique. Each sideline smile, every calm timeout huddle, became a statement. She wasn't here to prove she could handle the noise. She was here to dominate. Media outlets worldwide picked up the story, framing it as a watershed moment for women's basketball. International broadcasters streamed her games to audiences that had never paid attention to the WNBA before. Social media influencers, sports celebrities, and even political figures joined the conversation. Tweets from global icons like Serena Williams and Megan Rapinoe flooded timelines, celebrating her resilience and skill. The WNBA's following surged, ticket sales spiked, and merchandise flew off shelves in record numbers. Even traditional critics were forced to pivot. Analysts who had dismissed her Olympic omission were now praising her resilience and professionalism. Commentators marveled at how she handled physicality, media scrutiny, and comparisons to legends, all without letting emotion cloud her performance. This universal recognition only elevated Clark's status further. By mid-season, Caitlin Clark had become a household name. The reactions weren't just about basketball. They were about dominance, resilience, and the changing narrative of sports culture. Fans, analysts, NBA stars, and brands alike were aligned in one loud, undeniable statement. Clark was not just a rookie or a player. She was a phenomenon commanding respect across leagues and continents. And yet, amid this whirlwind, Clark remained singularly focused. Every clap, every mention, every viral clip wasn't a distraction. It was fuel. She was fully aware that with fame came scrutiny, and she used it as a platform, proving that true dominance is measured not by chatter, but by precision, performance, and poise under pressure. As the world watched, the industry reacted, the fans roared, and even the skeptics had to pause. Caitlin Clark had not only captured attention, she had demanded it. And the shocking truth? This was only the beginning. Just when the world thought it had fully grasped Caitlin Clark's dominance, the narrative took an unexpected twist, one that left even the most seasoned analysts scrambling. Midway through the season, reports emerged that a secret training regimen Clark had been following was far more extreme than anyone had imagined. Sources revealed she had been training with former NBA stars, behind closed doors, using techniques designed to push cognitive and physical limits simultaneously, combining film study, reaction drills, and simulated high-pressure scenarios. This wasn't your typical rookie grind. This was engineering perfection. Then came the revelation that shook the WNBA and NBA alike. Clark had been secretly studying advanced analytics and player tendencies from NBA games for months, dissecting every guard, forward, and center she might face. Every fake-out, every hesitation dribble, every shot placement in the league had been cataloged, analyzed, and incorporated into her game. The shock wasn't just in her skill, it was in the sheer foresight and preparation behind it. But analysts who had called her talented but unpolished were now scrambling to redefine their vocabulary. Clark wasn't just ahead of the competition, she was light years ahead. But the real bombshell came from an insider leak. A private video surfaced showing Clark meeting with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. The clip was brief but explosive. Both NBA superstars praising her court intelligence, her footwork, and her relentless drive. Curry's words were particularly striking. "She's better than any rookie I've seen in years. She can shoot it better than me." The WNBA, already struggling to keep up with Clark's pace, suddenly faced an existential question. How do you contain a player whose talent transcends leagues? Meanwhile, social media erupted in chaos. Fans and analysts debated endlessly, and some calling it the greatest basketball story of the decade, while others accused NBA stars of overhyping a rookie. Clips of Clark's games went viral repeatedly, showing impossible stepbacks, floor-spinning crossovers, and precision shots from angles thought unreachable. Even veteran players admitted they had to rethink defensive strategies mid-game. It's like playing against a chess grandmaster who also happens to have perfect shooting, one player admitted anonymously. Then, as if the universe wanted to test the WNBA itself, the league announced an experimental series pitting top NBA guards against Clark in controlled exhibition matches. Fans went wild. Tickets sold out instantly, and pay-per-view subscriptions skyrocketed. The narrative had shifted. Caitlin Clark wasn't just a WNBA star. She was a phenomenon capable of challenging legends. But here's where the cliffhanger hits hardest. Reports leaked that Nike, in a panic over losing control of Clark's brand and marketability, was fast-tracking a secret shoe line designed exclusively for her. The kicker? Rival brands were already negotiating behind the scenes, trying to lure Clark with offers that could surpass her current multi-million-dollar deal. Suddenly, endorsements, fame, and athletic supremacy collided into a single high-stakes battlefield. The outcome wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about control, influence, and who would ultimately define the next era of women's sports. And then the whispers started. A mysterious figure within the league, known only as the strategist, was allegedly mentoring Clark, feeding her insights, and shaping plays that seemed almost prescient. Some insiders claimed he was a former coach of an elite NBA team. Others suspected he was a genius analytics mind operating in the shadows. Whatever the truth, Clark's performances became even more unexplainable, almost as if she anticipated every defensive adjustment before it happened. As this revelation spread, the media and fans were left with one question. Could anyone stop Caitlin Clark? The answer was unclear, but the anticipation was palpable. Social feeds were inundated with predictions, conspiracy theories, and debates over which NBA legend could even dream of matching her in a head-to-head. Every game, every highlight, every silent nod on the court carried more weight than ever before. And the stage was set. The rookie had outgrown her league, earned respect from legends, and attracted attention from brands, analysts, and secret mentors alike. Every observer understood one thing. Something historic was about to unfold. But no one knew exactly when, where, or how. And that uncertainty was the thrill driving the world to the edge of their seats. As the screen fades to black in highlight reels and the chatter continues online, the biggest question hangs in the air. Will Caitlin Clark rewrite basketball history completely? Or is this only the opening act of an even more shocking story? Now here's where you come in, because this story isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's about witnessing history unfold before our very eyes. Every dunk, every cross-court pass, every clutch three-pointer is a chapter in a narrative that could redefine women's basketball forever. Do you think anyone in the NBA, past or present, could match her vision, her precision, or her sheer audacity on the court? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this is the debate of the decade, and your voice matters. And don't just stop there. Share this with everyone who follows basketball, friends, family, casual fans, because Caitlin Clark's rise isn't something to miss. The WNBA, the NBA, and even global sports media are scrambling to keep up, but you can be part of the story as it happens. Imagine looking back years from now and saying, "I saw it first. I watched her take over the game." That's the level of legacy we're talking about. Here's the kicker. The twists aren't over. Endorsements, secret mentors, on exhibition matches against NBA elites. Every new development adds fuel to a fire that's only growing. Will she stay unstoppable, or will a hidden challenge finally shake her? Only time will tell. But you'll want to be front and center when it happens, witnessing every highlight, every reaction, and every jaw-dropping moment. So hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications because we're bringing you all the behind-the-scenes drama, exclusive analysis, and shocking revelations before anyone else. And remember, this isn't just basketball. This is history in motion, a rookie rewriting the rules, and you get to watch it unfold live. Comment below. Are you riding with Caitlin Clark, or do you think someone will finally stop her? The next chapter is coming, and trust us, you do not want to miss it.